Hello, Vidley. It's lolwut here, the owner of the site. And yes, this is really my voice that most of you are hearing for the first time. And yes, I really am Chinese, as some of you already know. Now, normally I wouldn't upload something like this with me talking into the microphone, right? But recently some YouTube user named Tranium made a little documentary video about Vidley, and a lot of dumb shit was said, and it's getting pretty popular, actually. So I thought that I would make a rare exception and make a video myself in response, primarily because it would be fun. And I wanted to start off this video by addressing two small factual errors that he made before I delve into the more fun parts. Now, Tranium, the first factual error is your statement that a Russian soldier acquired Vidley.
And a part of this story involves a Russian soldier acquiring one of the websites. Someone literally said that a Russian soldier bought one of the websites.
A Russian soldier never acquired Vidley. I acquired Vidley back in February of 2022. The Russian soldier being referenced is actually my good friend Kuz, who, yes, he is Russian. He did serve in the Russian army when he was younger, and he collaborated with me back in 2022 to acquire Vidley. And after that, he became an admin and my second in command, basically. But I was always the owner and always had the final say on all site policies. Kuz, he assisted with a lot of the management of the site early on back in 2022, but later on he gradually lost interest, and he officially ended his involvement with Vidley in January of 2023. Now, I announced this in a blog post on Vidley, which you can read on www.vidley.com/blog. This has been a long-standing misconception, and I can't believe that even now, in August of 2024, people still think that Kuz owns or runs the site, and your video is only adding fuel to this misconception. Like, even in your video, you included a screenshot that straight up says, Yan sold Vidley and BitView to Kuz and lolwut. And lolwut announced on the site blog that Kuz had stepped down and left the site. Yet I don't know why you ignored those phrases. Like, maybe you just weren't attentive or something. I don't know. But I wanted to clear up this misconception yet again. The second factual error is your statement that people can't delete their accounts from Vidley.
People are trying to delete their accounts off of this thing too, and they're contacting the website and stuff like that, but they can't delete their accounts.
Which is also false. Or at least it's no longer true. There was a span of time back in 2022, soon after I bought Vidley, when the site was in really poor condition in terms of code and functionality, because that's just what ended up falling into my lap when I bought the site, and the ability for people to delete their accounts was actually broken. But that was fixed a long time ago, and now users can easily delete their accounts by themselves without having to contact staff to do it manually for them. Even later on in your video, you included footage of a Vidley account that was actually closed by its user.
Let's see what this guy has to say. This user has voluntarily terminated their own account.
And I invite you and anybody else who doubts what I'm saying to open an account on Vidley and then try closing it yourself, because it will work. Now, those are just the two factual errors that you made in your video that I've addressed. I'm not going to be too harsh on you for repeating those inaccuracies, because you're basically an outside observer to all of this, right? And your only source of information for some of these things are like random fandom wiki articles that themselves contain a lot of errors and rumors. And it would really be unfair of me to bash you because of what little information is publicly available for you to research. But anyway, these are the boring parts, okay? Now, let's get into the interesting parts, starting with this funny bit.
And we're here. Homepage seems kind of clean, I think. Okay, never mind. Never mind. This one right here is insane to be at the very top. Jesus Christ. Okay. Is he singing over this? Are you serious?
Going on a trip.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine being a total normal fag outsider to Vidley, and the first thing that you see is angry Aryan 88s were going on a trip to a place called Auschwitz video. Oh man, what an experience. And you know, it's funny that you won't even watch through the whole video because there's no gore or anything violent in it. It's just a little comedy song set to some old footage. Like, I could totally envision seeing something like this on old YouTube back in the day because people actually fucking knew how to have fun back then and had a sense of humor. And it's not because they were all Nazis or sympathetic to Nazism. It's just because it's a comedy video on the internet.
That's right at the top of the page.
That video is at the top of the page in the videos being watched now section. There's an automated system that puts videos there. If somebody happens to be watching the video when you open the front page, then you'll see the video listed there. It's not added there manually. And look, this is a screenshot from your own video, alright, where you can clearly see videos being watched now. I don't know if you seriously didn't see the title of that section, or if you did actually see it and you're just being disingenuous by deliberately not bringing that fact to the attention of your viewers in order to paint Vidly in a bad light.
Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. Don't go on this website, please.
Baby's first day on the internet live reaction right here, you guys. Welcome to the internet, my friend. You will see gore on here. It's a fact of life. And if you can't stand the heat, then get the fuck out of the kitchen or toughen the fuck up. That's all that I can say. And I love that he sighs audibly and is visibly shaken by a couple of videos and images on the internet, you know, by a couple of funny pixels on his screen. Oh, man. He would never have survived on old 4chan. That's all that I'm going to say. But, alright, what other funnies does he offer us?
What the fuck is this, man?
Hey guys, Mr. Beast here coming at you from the Hyperborean Note Zone, and today we're going to be look-maxing 1,000 incel freaks into Aryan beasts. Here we go.
This is my favorite moment of your video. Because it's a total normal fag encountering shit like fucking Hyperborean edits and soy jacks for the first time in his life and reacting to them in just complete bewilderment. You didn't do or say anything wrong here, by the way. It's just hilarious for me to see, like, Mr. Generic Mainstream YouTuber number 9001 reacting to the really esoteric parts of internet culture. So thank you for the laughs, man. Thank you for that. Oh, and before people get the wrong idea, I also want to clarify that Hyperborean edits and soyjacks aren't my thing either. They're well past my time, and the only reason that I know about them is because I have some Zoomer friends who are into them, you know, and so I get some exposure to them from those friends.
Famous Vidlier's face reveal. How about that? Is that one okay? Okay, a little face reveal. Okay, so that's apparently supposed to be the face reveal of the creator of the website. Dude, this is really bad. This is literally just 4chan.
Yes, it is 4chan style race humor. Yes. Do you have a problem with that, you fucking faggot? Like, man, I can't believe that you have a pole stuck so fucking far up your ass that you can't even find that video funny. You know, it's not even like the Auschwitz video that you watched earlier that was making fun of the Holocaust, because I can at least understand being offended by that, even if I'm not offended by it myself, because it's just a fucking comedy video on the internet. You know, like, get over it. But the premise of the Vidlier's face reveal video is, alright, like, what if we took some well-known users on the site, and we made them black, and then we set the whole thing to some hip-hop music? Like, it's a funny little tongue-in-cheek video that happens to use a bit of race-based humor. Big deal, right? It's funny. And I really, really appreciated the ending featuring a photo of a Chinese African guy as a reference to myself. And you see, that's what Vidly is about. It's being able to have fun and joke about anything, including race, which is just like 4chan. It's very much unlike modern YouTube, where everything is so fucking sterile and so fucking inoffensive and so fucking politically correct, where you can't say anything mildly controversial anymore. Old YouTube wasn't like that. It was free, just like Vidly is, and you had wide latitude to joke about just about anything. And that's the sense that I've gotten from this guy's video. That he's a product of modern day YouTube with all its sanitized sensibilities suddenly wading into basically what old 2000s YouTube was. And the unfiltered reality is hitting him hard, and he's totally unprepared for it. And that's an important point that I want to emphasize. When I bought Vidly back in February of 2022, my goal with the site back then, which is still my goal with it today, was to make Vidly emulate old 2000s YouTube. That has always been my primary goal. My goal with the site has always been driven by nostalgia. My intention with Vidly was never to make it like some unmoderated haven for free speech, unlike what he claims in his video.
Clearly no moderation at all.
And Vidly's current state also isn't due to the moderators being too lazy to moderate, like he claims.
Clearly they have a team of moderators that aren't doing shit at all.
We do have rules, as you can see on www.vidly.com/guidelines. And the moderators do actually perform regular moderation and enforce those rules. It just seems like to you and a lot of others who grew up on modern YouTube with its paragraphs upon paragraphs of unnecessary and overly restrictive rules, that Vidly doesn't have rules or moderation, but it does. It has a very minimal set of rules, and this was a deliberate decision on my part precisely for nostalgia and old YouTube emulation reasons. And unfortunately, the thing that far too many people today don't realize is that when it comes to making or maintaining an old YouTube emulation site for nostalgia purposes, you cannot simply put up a site that merely looks like old YouTube or that functions like old YouTube and claim success. Okay? You have to also capture the spirit of old YouTube. You have to capture the soul. You cannot just have the exterior or the shell. And the spirit of old YouTube, that encompasses a lot of things that I really don't have the time to discuss here. But one of the core elements of that spirit is the freedom that this Tranium guy and a lot of other people are criticizing Vidly for. Old YouTube, okay, it had a lot of freedom compared to YouTube today, and also compared to the other big social media sites of today. I know this because I was on old YouTube a lot during the late 2000s, and I saw firsthand what was allowed back then. Okay, to give you guys a few examples, something like the Vidlier's face reveal video, that uses race-based humor and racial stereotypes. Those types of videos were very common on old YouTube, and nobody would have cared or complained. People joked about a lot of things that if they joked about them today, it would, get them fucking canceled or whatever. Jokes and humor referencing Hitler and the Nazis were common, and very few people ever cared or complained. Everybody insulted everybody else in the video comments, in the channel comments, in private messages, whatever, for the smallest of reasons. And the messages would just be full of swearing and insults and name-calling. Like, I can't tell you how many times I was called a fag on old YouTube, and how many times I called other people a fag right back in their faces. That word was tossed around so casually back then, and nobody ever complained. I even remember people casually calling each other niggers on old YouTube as an insult, and nobody ever got fucking banned for these things. Because YouTube had that freedom back then, it was a part of the site's culture, and that's what you would experience using the site back in those days. The freedom and the actions that resulted from that freedom form an important part of the old YouTube experience. And without that freedom, you cannot seriously argue that a video sharing site that claims to be an old YouTube clone, that tries to emulate the authentic old YouTube spirit, is truly succeeding in that goal. And see, that's the essential difference between Vidly and BitView, alright? BitView has the aesthetics and the functionality and some of the spirit, like some of the character of old YouTube, right? But because it lacks a lot of that freedom, it can't ever claim to be a true, authentic old YouTube clone. And look, I'm not here to bash BitView. Okay, because I have nothing at all against the site, and I believe that it and Vidly can coexist peacefully on this old YouTube clone site of the internet. But I do have some constructive criticism for it. So yes, BitView may look just like old YouTube in its site design and its user channels. And yes, it may function a lot like old YouTube. And yes, it may even have people uploading videos with that, with that good old 2000s era silliness, like that slideshow dance video or the Windows Movie Maker videos. And these things all deserve to be praised. BitView is doing a really good job with respect to the old YouTube nostalgia and the emulation on these fronts. But the problem is it doesn't have the same degree of freedom that old YouTube had. Nowhere close. Now, I should disclose that I've never actually used BitView ever since I sold it off, so I don't have first-hand experience on what the moderation there is like. But just glancing over their rather long list of site rules and doing a quick search on their site for the word nigger and having it return only a single obscure video and a single channel with no subscribers and videos, and also just my knowledge of the attitudes of the site's staff and user base, I feel pretty confident when I say that BitView doesn't have nearly the degree of freedom that old YouTube had or that Vidly has. And because of that, because it's missing a core element of the old YouTube experience, I don't think that BitView can ever claim to be a genuine 100% authentic emulation of old YouTube. Now, it comes pretty close, I want to make that clear, but it falls short of 100% accuracy. Vidly, on the other hand, it has the site design of old YouTube. It has the customizable channels, it has the functionality, it has the old goofy 2000 style Windows Movie Maker videos, but importantly, it has the freedom. And that's why I believe that Vidly is emulating old YouTube better than BitView is, because it's a clone both on the outside and the inside, both in terms of appearance and of soul. It's like how this user on Tranium's video expressed it. One site is YouTube nostalgia. The other is the real old YouTube. This guy gets it. Now, I can already predict what some people are thinking. Even if what I'm saying about old YouTube's freedom is right, even if Vidly does have that freedom in abundance and is therefore a more genuine emulation of old YouTube than BitView is, well, is that necessarily a good thing? Do we want people to be able to upload KKK Nazi memes or Moon Man videos or call each other fags and niggers without consequence? And just be free to insult and name call each other and pretty much to be able to say whatever they want? Do we really want to bring that back? It's the type of sentiment that's expressed in this quote that's on the Wikipedia article for YouTube after Google introduced the requirement in 2013 that all users must have a Google Plus account in order to comment on YouTube videos. So the quote reads, "Perhaps user complaints are justified, but the idea of revamping the old system isn't so bad. Think of the crude, misogynistic, and racially charged mudslinging that has transpired over the last 8 years on YouTube without any discernible moderation. Isn't any attempt to curb unidentified libelers worth a shot? The system is far from perfect. But Google should be lauded for trying to alleviate some of the damage caused by irate YouTubers hiding behind animosity and anonymity." My response to this is just fuck off, faggot. Fucking fuck off, you fucking faggot. The freedom that we had on old YouTube, which exists on Vidly, is 100% a good thing. I was on 2000s YouTube a lot when I was younger, and I will tell you straight up that it was one of the most fun things that I ever experienced on the internet. And it was fun precisely because we had that freedom and the culture that resulted from it. We never had to worry about being banned or receiving a strike on our accounts just because, we called somebody a fag in a comment, or because we insulted somebody and called them out in a video, or because we joked about race or made light of some other controversial subject. And we never needed to worry about somebody else getting banned because they said similar things to us. It was such a wonderful, free platform where we could basically do whatever we wanted. And yes, it did get chaotic sometimes. It was an unrestrained environment. But this was a good thing, because it was a place where you felt like almost anything could happen, and it was so exciting and thrilling and fun. And if you've never been on old YouTube, and if you've never experienced a place with a similar degree of freedom, then you'll have trouble understanding that feeling, and I can't really convey the feeling adequately to you with just my words. But I will say this. There was a reason that I spent so much time almost every day on 2000s YouTube, and why I kept on coming back to the site day after day, even though back then I got called a fag and every other name in the book frequently by other people on the site. Yes, I had enemies, and I had friends, and the enemies on old YouTube, they absolutely did not hold back when they were insulting me. There was a lot of drama, there was a lot of arguments, a lot of name-calling, but this was all part of the experience. It was all a part of the fun, and I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything in the world. And this is in total contrast to current-day YouTube, where you can't do anything, where you can't say anything, out of fear of getting banned or shadow banned or receiving a strike or whatever. Modern YouTube has just piles upon piles of ridiculous and unnecessary and stifling rules that restrict your freedom so much. You know, it's a place where you might get a strike and your video gets removed because, ooh, you used 5 seconds of audio from a copyrighted song. It's a place where this Tranium guy feels the need to censor the image of the swastika in this screenshot, even though his video isn't even praising Hitler or Nazism by any means, and he only included that image for illustrative purposes. It's a place where he also feels the need to censor the image of some KKK members holding up a Confederate flag, even though that image, again, was included only for illustrative purposes and has nothing sexual or violent in it. And he, as well as the phrase white power KKK, he also felt the need to censor that. It's a place where he even feels the need to censor the mere mention of the word gore in his video. Not the actual images of gore, mind you, but just the word. And I know that users leaving comments on YouTube these days are hesitant, like, even to swear. I'm not even talking about racial slurs, but just generic swear words like fuck and shit, because they know that they might be punished for it. It's such a far cry from what we used to have, and it's fucking terrible. It's a fucking nightmare of censorship where everybody feels like they're walking on eggshells, and it's become a total joke of a site. You know, there's another comment on Tranium's YouTube video that offers some more insight into the situation. And it's right here. We are at a point where grown adults making content for people aged 18 to 25 have to use terms like sewer slide, corn, and unalived because YouTube will instantly remove monetization for not being kid-friendly. I mean, this reads like fucking parody. If you traveled back in time to old YouTube and described to people back then what YouTube would be like in 2024, nobody would have believed you. I certainly would not have believed you. And you would have just been laughed off the site. And modern YouTube, this is what happens when that crucial freedom that I've been describing is taken away. And perhaps even worse than one site or even multiple sites taking away this freedom is when large numbers of people spend pretty much their entire online lives in these highly censored and sterile places like this. It's because they rarely ever encounter anything unpleasant or controversial, because they rarely ever encounter anything that offends them, because they basically spent their entire online lives in sheltered and coddled. They haven't had the opportunities to build up that mental and psychological resilience, you know, the thick skin that's necessary against disagreement or the unpleasant realities of the world. And as a result of that, they just become complete wimps and crybabies over everything. I mean, like, how many times in Tranium's video did he say that he's scared to click on a fucking link on the internet?
I'm a little scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared to click on these, bro.
Like, you're scared? Scared of what? Like, what really do you have to be scared of? What do you have to fear? Videos on the internet? A bunch of fucking pixels on your computer monitor? Do you think that if you click on like a Nazi or KKK meme video, that some Nazi KKK white supremacist is going to reach out of your screen and strangle you? Like, really? You are a fucking grown-ass man afraid to click on some links on the internet? And see, this is the unfortunate consequence of what happens when you don't leave the playpen and you aren't exposed to the unfiltered realities of the internet. You become such a fucking pussy that you feel actual fear over looking at unpleasant things on the internet. Not real life, on the internet. And it's utterly fucking pathetic. And look, man, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt here and concede, well, okay, maybe you're just saying that you're scared for comedic or entertainment purposes, and that when the camera's off and you're just web browsing by yourself, that you don't actually care, and you don't actually get scared over fucking videos on the internet. Like, for your sake, I hope that that's the actual situation. And what's even worse than simply being a wimp yourself who's unable to handle some videos or banter on the internet is this ultra offended reaction of these coddled people when they encounter a website on the current day internet that has the freedom of the old internet. You know, instead of just saying like, oh, this website has some things that are too much for me to handle, but nobody's forcing me to use it, and if other people enjoy it, then that's fine, but I won't be using it myself. And that is a perfectly reasonable sentiment. But instead of saying something like that, they instead characterize this wild, fun, old internet free-for-all as something like dark and sinister. Tranium certainly does this with shit like this image that he included in his video, as well as stating that Vidly took a dark and scary direction.
I believe both of these websites were like created like 2 years apart. One went into a very dark direction.
He also keeps on saying that he's like concerned.
Vidly, which we're going to be going on later, is definitely the more concerning one. The concerning thing is...
But concerned about what? Like, concerned that people have a place on the internet to be free, just like the old days on old YouTube? Like, oh no, people can be free and do what they want and say what they want on some website that nobody is forcing me to use or even look at. This is concerning. I'm concerned. Like a fucking website on the internet with a bit of freedom is an actual serious ethical issue, and that it needs to be taken down. There's another comment on Tranium's video that expresses my views on this subject perfectly. It's right here. All of these, why is this still online, people are the reason why the internet is so sterile and boring these days. Some stuff out there isn't pretty. Welcome to reality. It's so annoying that people want to remove anything that isn't squeaky clean and mainstream, which I would argue is more revolting. This guy gets it. The YouTube and the internet that I grew up on was much less censored, much less sanitized, much more free, much more chaotic and wild, and much more fun than the internet of today. And I will always fucking support that and stand up for that YouTube and that internet. And look, Tranium, perhaps I've been too harsh on you. I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt because I know how modern YouTube is, at least to some degree, how you can't say anything even mildly controversial or offensive anymore, or you'll be demonetized or given a strike or banned or shadow banned and so on. Like, maybe all of the opinions that you've expressed in your video are simply you putting on an act and saying the right things to appeal to your audience, telling them what they want to hear, and staying within the confines of modern YouTube's stifling environment and ridiculous amount of rules and censorship. Like, I get it, man. A nigga's gotta make a living somehow. You know, for your sake, I hope that you don't actually believe half of the bullshit that you've said in your video, and that you only said it to stay out of trouble with YouTube and with your audience. It's like that saying, don't hate the player, hate the game. And this saying goes beyond just you or other people on modern YouTube making videos. It even extends to YouTube itself. And what I mean by this is that YouTube ultimately is just a player in the game as well. At the end of the day, YouTube is just a company trying to make money in the business and cultural environment of the 2024 mainstream internet. And that environment is one that is highly, highly sanitized, filtered, and inoffensive. And the causes of that shift are complex, and I certainly don't have the time in this video to get into them. But I will say that Vidly stands firmly outside of that culture, and it stands for the fun of the old Wild West internet culture. And Tranium, I'll give you credit for one thing. You did say something true in your video. It's this clip located a little before the 20-minute mark of your video.
It's doing whatever. It's literally free roam on here.
Yes, it is. And that's a good thing. The free roam atmosphere on Vidly is 100% keeping with my vision of emulating the freedom of old YouTube. And it's just as important as all of the other attributes of the site that emulate old YouTube. Vidly will always be here as a place for those people who are just tired of the boring and sterile and politically correct environment on modern YouTube and the modern internet, who are looking for the real old YouTube experience. People who have a little thick skin and can take a bit of banter and unpleasantness and offensive humor, who want thrills and excitement and fun rather than being coddled in some highly sanitized and mind-numbing playpen. Vidly is a passion project for me, alright? I don't run any ads on here, and I definitely don't sell any user data. I fund this site solely out of my own pocket because I believe that strongly and that passionately in this vision, that this is the most genuine and authentic way to run a video sharing site that claims to be a nostalgia emulation of old YouTube. Vidly will always embody the freedom of old YouTube, and it will always stand in stark contrast to everything that modern YouTube has become. And I'm damn fucking proud to own it and run it this way, and I will never apologize for doing so. And if you agree with me, then I welcome you with open arms to my website.